After Donald Trump spent the morning shockingly calling for members of Congress to be killed, Carolyn Leavitt followed up with what may be the most shameless, absurd, and disgraceful press conference I have ever witnessed. And believe me, Leavitt has set the bar pretty high, so I was genuinely surprised she managed to top it. But this event was a complete disaster. The reason a screaming Carolyn Leavitt had to flee was that Caitlin Collins caught her in lie after lie. It was a total meltdown. We're going to break down every moment of it, but before we do, I want to quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. It really supports our work. Now, before Carolyn Leavitt got into her disgraceful defense of Donald Trump for the shocking attacks he made this morning, she started by defending another incident, excusing him for calling a reporter piggy.
And I'll let the president speak for himself. Natalie.
Thank you, Caroline. What did the president mean when he called a reporter piggy?
Look, the president is very frank and honest with everyone in this room. You've all seen it yourself. You've all experienced it yourselves, and I think it's one of the many reasons that the American people reelected this president, because of his frankness. And he calls out fake news when he sees it. He gets frustrated with reporters when you lie about him, when you spread fake news about him and his administration. But he also is the most transparent president in history, and he gives all of you in this room, as you all know, unprecedented access. You are in the Oval Office almost every day asking the president questions. And so I think the president being frank and open and honest to your faces rather than hiding behind your backs is frankly a lot more respectful than what you saw in the last administration, where you had a president who lied to your face and then didn't speak to you for weeks and hid upstairs and didn't take your questions. So I think everyone in this room should appreciate the frankness and the openness that you get from President Trump on a near daily basis. Go ahead.
Is she serious right now? I mean, I know she is. Carolyn Leavitt is so deep into the cult mindset with a worldview so broken and narrow that she can't even recognize how absurd she sounds. But I truly cannot imagine saying what she said as a person, let alone as a woman, defending Donald Trump calling a reporter piggy and brushing it off as him simply being honest. She claims he just doesn't like questions from the fake news or people distorting the truth. But the truth is this. Trump's long-standing relationship with Epstein, a convicted offender, raises serious questions, and Trump has avoided addressing those questions for years. There's nothing misleading about asking why he's so terrified of the Epstein files being released. He is furious. And in my view, that's exactly why he is trying to change the news cycle today. It's why we're going to keep talking about the Epstein files, and it's why he lashed out by calling for Democratic members of Congress to be harmed simply for saying that military members should refuse illegal orders, which they are literally trained to do. But when Carolyn Leavitt was confronted with those comments, she answered with an unbelievably ridiculous response. And when she got a follow-up question, she completely snapped, raising her voice. Before that meltdown, though, here's the first thing she had to say.
This morning, President Trump accused 6 Democratic lawmakers of seditious behavior punishable by death. Just to be clear, does the president want to execute members of Congress?
No. Let's be clear about what the president is responding to. Because many in this room want to talk about the president's response, but not what brought the president to responding in this way. You have sitting members of the United States Congress who conspired together to orchestrate a video message to members of the United States military, to active duty service members, to members of the national security apparatus, encouraging them to defy the president's lawful orders.
It's almost comical to me that the response from elected officials and people who are supposedly paid to follow the news, I'm talking about Fox hosts, Republican aides, and of course Carolyn Leavitt, is always the same. Whenever Trump says something outrageous, dangerous, or flat out unlawful, their answer immediately becomes, "Well, I haven't seen it," or I can't comment because I'm not sure. Carolyn, you're not a lawyer. We all know that. And forgive my language, but it's no secret that you are completely out of your depth. Nobody's confused about that. But you don't need to be a Supreme Court justice to understand that what Trump is saying is reckless, irresponsible, and blatantly wrong. No one is taking Democratic lawmakers to The Hague for telling military members not to obey illegal orders from a president acting irresponsibly. That's simply not reality. And that is exactly why Carolyn Leavitt couldn't handle the question about Trump encouraging political violence. She had no way to justify it. Her talking points fell apart, and she ended up running away rather than addressing it, because she couldn't. Her worldview is too warped to process what's actually happening. But listen to her try.
They are literally saying to 1.3 million active duty service members not to defy the chain of command, not to follow lawful orders.
Actually,
Every single
you can refuse an illegal order, which is
they're suggesting, Nancy, that the president has given illegal orders, which he has not. Every single order that is given to this United States military by this commander-in-chief and through this chain of command, through the Secretary of War, is lawful. And the courts have proven that. This administration has an unparalleled record at the Supreme Court because we are following the laws. We don't defy court orders. We do things by the books. And to suggest and encourage that active duty service members defy the chain of command is a very dangerous thing for sitting members of Congress to do. And they should be held accountable. And that's what the president wants to see.
How many hours and days did we spend getting lectured? Having people wag their fingers at us, insisting that we must honor Charlie Kirk, that we should light a little Charlie Kirk candle, hold a vigil for him, treat him like some kind of saint, hang his picture in our homes as if he were the Pope. And now Donald Trump can say, well, I think we should just kill Democrats in the streets and then hang them. And somehow, no one has anything to say. Marsha Blackburn went on Newsmax, which barely qualifies as a real outlet, and instantly jumped to defend him. Trump even posthumously handed Charlie Kirk a Medal of Freedom. For what exactly? For building a discriminatory political organization that regularly targeted black women in order to generate profits and serve the agenda of billionaire oligarchs who wanted to keep their tax cuts? Come on, we were lectured that the left was responsible for Charlie Kirk's death because a man who wasn't even a Democrat or a Republican committed a horrific act. I don't care about Charlie Kirk, and I don't care about Erica Kirk either, except in the sense that she now runs that same racially charged organization and deserves to be criticized for it. But we were told repeatedly that we needed to look within ourselves, search our souls, and recognize how wrong we supposedly were because of our rhetoric. Rhetoric from who? From where? They always point to some random person on TikTok, or they show me Republicans in my comments saying I need to tone it down. And yes, I know I'm ranting. I usually apologize for that, but I'm not going to this time. Because the idea that I, a 23-year-old content creator making fun of Charlie Kirk and calling out his bigotry is somehow equivalent to the President of the United States demanding that Democratic lawmakers be executed for telling military members, many of them veterans, not to follow illegal orders. It's absurd.
More about that later. Thank you.
Misquoted Democrats in that video. That's actually not what they said.
That's when you know your point is landing. Carolyn, you nailed it. Running away as Caitlin Collins called out lie after lie. Someone give her an attaboy. It's despicable. They embarrass themselves daily, put everyone in danger, and refuse to admit it. Remember Jesse Waters calling for civil war the night Kirk died, immediately blaming Democrats? They scream about rhetoric, but can't handle a serious debate. And that's why Carolyn ran. This is a right-wing problem, with young white men committing violence, brainwashed by a president who encourages it. You didn't just get a pardon on January 6th. You got a lifetime of immunity. This is a dark day in history. Carolyn Leavitt is toxic, and I'm furious. If you want a calmer perspective, Senator Chris Murphy's response this morning was spot on.
The United States just called for members of Congress to be executed. If you are a person of influence in this country, maybe it's time to pick a fucking side. If you are a Republican in Congress, if you are a Republican governor, maybe it's time to draw a line in the sand and say that under no circumstances should the President of the United States be calling on his political opposition to be hanged.
I'm done tolerating this. I wasn't silent with Charlie Kirk, and you all remember when I said my tone has changed. It stayed changed. I will not be talked down to by people demanding that I apologize or tone it down while they commit crimes, trample our Constitution, attack our country, and carry out what are essentially crimes against humanity. Carolyn Leavitt is a sick individual. Donald Trump is a sick individual, and I will call them out. If you want to support that, as always, hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I will see you soon.